AP Gov, what is happening? This is political parties. Political parties. Political party is a team of men seeking to control the governing apparatus by gaining office in a duly constituted election. That's by Anthony Downs, An Economic Theory of Democracy. Anthony Downs is the same guy that figured out the formula predicting the likelihood of whether or not people will vote. The important thing to remember about political parties, and the way that they're different from interest groups, is that people in a political party want to get into the government. They want to gain an office in the government. They want to become part of the government, and from there, then they can enact policy that they find favorable. Political parties are the Constitution's unwanted offspring. How do we get them? Well, we have liberty. We have freedoms. Madison wrote about them in Federalist 10. He wrote about factions. Political parties are a type of faction. Interest groups are another type of faction. It's just a group of people united by a common interest. Madison thought factions were undesirable, yet inevitable in a free nation, and he called their spread throughout the Republic conflagration, which is the spreading of fire. He thought in order to prevent the spread of factions, you needed to have as many of them as you possibly could, and therefore they would cancel each other out. And that is his theory of pluralism. The reason why we have so many factions, parties, and special interest groups is because of the Constitution itself. The First Amendment provisions allow for unfettered organization of parties. Our rights of speech, assembly, petition, and the press allow parties to be created. In a system where majority rules and voting equals wins, organization pays. What do I mean by that? Well, building and maintaining a diverse coalition, mobilizing voters, developing new electoral techniques, and using party labels to enforce collective responsibility are all tools which parties use to be successful and try to win elections. The thing is, stability pays. A group that will consistently be organized and like-minded will not have to deal with the transaction costs on each proposal. So you create stability by building coalitions. I'll explain more about that later in the PowerPoint. Stability pays. Creating stable coalitions pays. To win a national election, you need to spread the message across an entire nation, creating a national coalition. 1796, in this case, for example, John Adams and the Federalists spread the word state to state about John Adams, his policy, of course he's Federalist, pro-England, etc., and his intentions, what they would be like if he got elected. So the spreading of knowledge and the building of like-minded voters are the beginning of American political parties, and that's 1796. That election and subsequent administration of Jefferson and Adams proved to be the only administration that had presidents and vice presidents from different political parties. That of course was overturned, as you know, by the 12th Amendment. So there's 1792. There's 1796. You can see Adams and Jefferson was the VP. Now, as voting restrictions were eliminated, candidates had to develop better ways of organizing and appealing to new voters. What am I talking about? Women getting the right to vote, 19th Amendment. Universal male suffrage, 15th Amendment. The elimination of the property requirement in the 1840s for men. So what happens is more and more people are allowed to vote, therefore political parties have to be better at organizing and appealing to a larger group of people. So the more people available to vote, the better organization that the party needs to be. Organized parties beginning really really in 1828, 1832, with the first like big national conventions and stuff. But they were organized better and better to attract new voters and get them to show up at the polls. I got some pictures. Those are some of the Homesteader Acts, or the homesteaders, because of the 1862 Homesteader Act. Imagine living in a sod house on the prairie. That's pretty crazy. This is a picture we have actually in my classroom. This is a county election. So this is before the Australian ballot, which is like the secret ballot. So this is, everyone knew if you voted, everyone knew who you voted for. And half of the people in that picture are probably drunk. Party identification. This makes voting cheaper and easier. There's Mitt Romney, 2012 Republican nominee for president. Hi, I'm Mitt Romney. I'm for lowering taxes on people and corporations, cutting spending to ensure a balanced budget, reforming Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, securing our border, drilling for domestic oil, while still investing in alternative energy sources, probably pro-life, for the repeal of the 2010 healthcare legislation, that's Obamacare, protecting a person's right to keep and bear arms, and allowing people and businesses to be the job creators and not the federal government. Or he could just say, hi, I'm a Republican. See the shortcut? It's like Control Z, undo, shortcut. Cognitive shortcut. Party label. So you say you're party affiliated, and if you just say the label, then all the other specific positions, like it's by implication that you agree with certain positions that the party agrees on. So you could say Democrat and people know your position on, I don't know, 20 issues. Here's the catch though. If you're a member of a party, you really need to act like one of them. So if you say you're Democrat, you need to do the things that Democrats do. If you say you're a Republican, just look at that rhino. Just look at it. Most countries have more than a two-party system. In America, we have a two-party system. So, more than a two-party system, most other countries have what's called proportional representation. It's not based on a plurality. We have an electoral system that is based on a plurality. So I have some different parliamentary elections up. I had Denmark, I think that was, and then I have Slovakia up. You can see if your party gets a percentage of the vote, then they get a percentage of representation in parliament. This one is a group. This one's from your book actually, but this is the number of major parties that have at least 2% of seats in either a Congress or their national legislature. So you can see at the bottom, look at Israel. There's 11 parties represented in their parliament. You know, at least 11 parties have at least 2%. You can see the United States. There you go. We got 2. We have 2 parties. That's all we have. And it's not like there aren't other parties. They just don't win elections. There's a tendency to vote for one of the top 2 parties because all the other parties realistically have little to no shot of winning. There's a law for this. I think it's de Verger. I think he's French. I don't really know how to pronounce the law. The guy's name, he's a French political scientist. But essentially, if you vote for a 3rd, 4th, 5th party, that person really has no chance to win, and you know that going in. Therefore, when you know that vote is a wasted vote, you're not going to do it. The United States has been a 2-party system ever since the first Congress at 1789. The reason why we're a 2-party system is because we're on a plurality electoral system. Everything in America is electoral. A plurality voting system except for the Electoral College. Remember, the Electoral College, you need a majority to win, 270 votes. Any other election in America, you just need a plurality. You just need the most votes. So why would you vote for someone with no chance to win? Well, you probably wouldn't. This is the election of 1992. I showed you guys this the other day. Check out the green, Ross Perot from Texas. He actually got 19 million votes. But you can see him and Bush split the Republican or more conservative. The Perot voters would have voted for Bush. The Bush voters would have voted for Perot. And Slick Willie slid in and got the presidency only with 43% of the popular vote. But as you can see, obviously he won the electoral vote. There's Ross Perot. There's George W. Bush. Herbert Walker Bush. They hate each other. They blamed each other for letting Slick Willie win. There's Clinton. So majority parties want you to vote for third parties. Why? Because they know it's a waste of vote. In America, in our congressional districts, we have what's called single member districts. Okay? If you vote for a person from this district, that's all you get. You get one person. So it's not like multiple people coming from these districts. It's one person. It's winner take all. The person that gets the plurality wins. That's it. And that's another reason single member districts are why it's stupid to vote for third, fourth, fifth, sixth parties, etc. Okay, Andrew Jackson, spoil system. You guys remember this? I hope. Award supporters was jobs, contracts, aka patronage. To the victor belong the spoils. So this was 1828. Well, he kind of won in 1824, and that was like the corrupt bargain. And then he ran again in 1828, and him and Martin Van Buren founded the Democrat Party in 1828. What do you need to be on the president candidate? It's not different than Jackson's era. Okay, what do you need to be on the presidential cabinet? You need to know the president. It's nepotism. It's loyalty. You need to have some kind of relationship with this person. You need to have supported them throughout the campaign. It's not like they just pick the best people. They pick people who are loyal to them. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Trump. It was the same thing with Obama. It goes, right back to Andrew Jackson. It's the same thing. You got to know people. You have to have loyalty to the president, support him or her during their campaign in order to get a cabinet position. It's not a meritocracy. They're not just going to go with the best person. The ticket or a fraction of a party would be named by the members of Congress who belong to that faction or the party. The modern American political system was born, and with it, the specter of the presidential candidate's running mate who would somehow balance, ideologically or geographically, that party's presidential ticket. So what I'm talking about is, like for example, we could just do Trump and Pence. Trump is like a wild card businessman. So what do? They get Mike Pence, an old school veteran, solid Republican, conservative, governor, established politician to balance out Trump's wild side. Obama did it with Biden. Okay, Obama was young, African American, a novice, if you will. So they went out, and he was from Chicago, so Midwest. So they went out and they got Joe Biden, senator, experience from Delaware, an established politician, to kind of balance out Obama's inexperience. And that's part one.